how to plot a simple graph. For that you just need to write this much of thing. We'll remove this added things. So these three lines will give you a simple sinusoidal plot. Just run this thing and we can have this simple plot. So previously we have seen how to make this simple boring graph into an exciting graph like this. It seems more appropriate, it looks very nice, more professional. So if you want to learn that thing, then you can check out my previous video. The link of that video is provided in description box below and here in card. We will use the same script to plot multiple graph in one figure. Now here in this graph, we have one sine function. Now what we'll do, we'll add one more plot into same graph. So two plot in one graph. So we will add one more waveform and that will be cosine function. So let's write script for that. And to do all these things, we are going to use this same script. We'll add these details into the script. So first of all, I'll write script to add one more function, to add one more variable to create a graph. Let's call it b. So b is equal to cos of t. So ultimately we are defining another variable b. This a variable we are using to plot a sinusoidal graph, and we'll use this b variable to plot a cosine graph. Now this fourth line represents command to plot a sine graph. Now we'll write it again, plot t comma b. We are just writing it very simple basic plot command. And let's see what happens if we directly write this plot command. It's just showing me only cosine graph. It is not showing me the sine graph, right? So to have both this plot in one graph, we need to write some additional command. So let's close this thing and let me tell you that additional command is hold on. So we need to write it before we write any plot command. So here we'll write hold on. So what it will do, it will hold value of all the plot and represent all the plot in one graph. So let's implement this thing and run the circuit. So we have written the hold on and now let's run. Now you can see we are able to observe both this graph. But the thing is, this graph is simple and we have added these things to this graph. So now let's make this graph also a little bit attractive. So what we'll do, we'll just copy all these things, comma, and paste it. I want to make the color of this graph blue. So I'll represent this with blue and the rest of the thing will be same. So now you can see both this graph looks nice. Now I don't want this theta 90-degree text, right? So I will remove this text line and run it again. So now I have appropriate graph. So now the graph is looks appropriate, but this legend is showing only sine wave. So now I want to add legend of cos wave also. So for that what we'll do, over here we have written legend, but that is only for sine wave. So we'll add cos wave 2. So that's it and let's run it. So now we have legend of sine wave and cos wave both. But the thing is, over here my legend is overlapping my graph, which is not appropriate way. So what I'll do, I'll change the location of legend. I'll close this thing. I'll go in this legend command and write location best. So it will place this legend at the best possible location. Let's run this thing. See, the legend has been shifted to such a location where legend is also clearly visible and full graph is also clearly visible. there are various location of this legend you can set. This area is known as east area, it's west area, south area, north area, southeast, and likewise east north, west north, and southwest. So you can place this legend anywhere you want to place. Let's place it in east area. So we'll close it. Just remove this best and write east and see it shifted over here. So likewise, as per your requirement, you can set the location of this legend wherever you want. So if you are confused about where to locate this legend, then let this hassleful work be done by MATLAB. And for that, just remove this east, write best, and run. So MATLAB will automatically place it on the best possible location. So this is how you can have a multiple plot in single graph. Now the next thing is, if you want to plot multiple graph in single figure. Now let's understand the difference between these two. Multiple plot in one graph means here there is only one graph represented and these are two plots in one graph. But this image is one figure. So if you want to add multiple graph in one figure, that means one graph over here and the another graph on another location, that is known as multiple graph in one figure. If you want to plot multiple graph in one figure, then you need to use some another command. So in this section, we are going to explore that another command. So let's explore that thing. Close this. So now what we'll do, now we want to try another thing. So for that we do not require this hold on command, right? So what we'll do, we'll just make it a comment. So it will not be counted as a part of our script. So to plot multiple graph in one figure, we should use subplot command. The command is subplot. Now, what this subplot does, actually it creates m cross n matrix of a figure. Let me show you an example to exactly understand what this subplot tries to explain. So in this example, you will be able to understand the subplot will create a matrix of R cross C, row cross column. So the intersection point will be one location for each figure. So for example, numbers of rows are 2 and numbers of column are 3. So the matrix will become 2 comma 3. And in that matrix you can place 6 different graphs in one figure. The numbers of these figures are like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So now when we see the syntax of subplot, it will look like this. So subplot 2 comma 3, that represents a matrix of 2 row and 3 column. That means in one figure you can place 6 images. And when you write 1, that means whatever plot command you are going to write after this plot, that graph will be plotted in location number 1. So to place another image on location number 2, again write plot and change this 1 to 2. So it will place new graph in location number 2. So now let's implement this thing in MATLAB and understand it a little bit better. So here we are going to write subplot 1 comma 2 location 1. Let's run this thing. See, we have created two graphs, right? But second graph we are not able to see. We are able to see only one graph. Why it is like this? It is so simple because the location of second graph we have not even specified. So we need to specify the location for each and every plot. Then only all the plots will be able to visible. So what we'll do, we'll copy this thing, write it after this over here, location number 2. Let's run it, and now you will be able to see this thing. So can you see both the graphs are available now? There are few changes in both the graph, and that we are going to see. But just imagine, I'll close this thing, and if I reverse this thing, instead of 1 cross 2, I'll make it 2 cross 1 and run it. See, you will be able to see these graphs like this. So now in this plot, there are 2 row and 1 column. So we can fit 2 graphs into this. Now, one thing you can observe over here, in graph number 1, there is no grid, no axis title, no title of the graph. But over here, we have written all these things, right? So just remember, whenever you are using this subplot command, after each and every plot, you have to write all these details. So grid on, X label, Y label, title and legend, you have to mention each and everything after this plot and before this subplot. So to add all these details to this plot. So now let's copy all these things, paste over here. This is graph of A, that means it is a sinusoidal waveform, right? And this is cosine waveform. So what we'll do, we'll change legend, we'll update it. One more thing I have noticed over here, see, before we update it, over here you just observe there is a warning ignoring extra legend. What it is doing exactly, over here we are providing two legends, right? Just forget this thing, right? Over here we are using two legends, but in this subplot we are giving only one graph. So in that graph there is only particular one plot. So for one plot we are giving two legends. So what it is doing, it is automatically removing the second legend from the graph, and that is what this warning wants to say, right? So now let's paste it again. Our this section is for sinusoidal plot, it is A, so we'll keep sine wave and we'll remove this cosine wave. Our second plot is of cosine wave, so we'll remove this sine. And now let's run it again, and now you will be able to see all the details are available. Observe over here, the location of this legend is here, and here location of the legend is here. And why it is like this? Because we have written over here location of legend is best possible location. So this is how you can add multiple graph in one figure.